Mentioned Deputy Vargas was tragically killed while serving a warrant, a particularly dangerous job in law enforcement. And we are now joined by Tom Nixon, a former HPD officer who is now an attorney.
And Tom, can you shed some light on the high-risk nature of these situations these officers are facing?
So in this case, you had two members of the Gulf Coast Task Force who were confronting a suspect on an active warrant for ag assault, deadly weapon. So they knew there was a chance he had a weapon, but unfortunately the suspect is the one who gets to decide whether there's going to be a gunfight. And so officers, when they're confronting known suspects with a violent history, have to try to anticipate whether or not there's going to be a gunfight. But it's not really the officer who makes the decision, it's the suspect who makes the decision. And unfortunately in this case, the suspect shot first, and so one of the first things they teach you in the academy is action beats reaction. So if the suspect is going to take an action and the officers have to react to it, it's going to be the suspect who gets the advantage in that kind of a gunfight. And so in this case, when you're in an open parking lot, there's no real cover. Vehicles don't provide cover. It's just the suspect and the officers. And unfortunately, the suspect did get the drop on the officer, and from what I understand, he was shot in the head by the suspect in the parking lot.
And there's also the uncertainty of all of this. All of this played out this morning in a parking lot at a strip center. And so maybe walk us through, how do officers weigh public safety when it comes to doing this dangerous job of serving a warrant, especially when you're in a public place?
Well, part of it is whether or not you can actually catch the suspect, because you never want to give them too much distance, because with too much distance, it becomes too difficult to catch them. So I suspect what happened is the officers thought they had closed distance with the suspect and were going to be able to capture him, and didn't anticipate in time that the suspect was going to start shooting, and probably didn't see the weapon until the last second. And then unfortunately that's when the gunfight started. So that does happen. It's one of the inherent dangers of law enforcement. Yeah. It's why it's a deadly job. It's why you wear a bulletproof vest. It's why you try to get superior numbers, superior firepower, and surprise on suspects when you're doing that. A lot of people don't understand. That's why officers kick in doors so often, is because they're trying to maintain a surprise element. But when you lose that surprise element, this is what can happen.
And a quick question, they were dealing with a violent offender, a known violent offender. Protocol any different than when serving a warrant in a different situation?
Well, not really, to the extent that if you've been following a suspect for any length of time and you're trying to apprehend that suspect, you try to do it in a location where there are not other civilians around. So the officers may have made the decision that that parking lot didn't have other people in it, and it was just them and the suspect, and so they decided to act on the warrant.
And can you give us a sense of what's happening right now? Take us behind the scenes of law enforcement during these types of manhunts.
Well, they probably contacted every tactical division in the area to try to start looking for perimeters with canine units, and there's probably a helicopter or two above the city right now, or a plane or a drone with some thermal imaging that are looking in backyards and alleyways and all manner of rooftops, because suspects like to hide on rooftops, and so that's probably what they're checking, is every conceivable place where the suspect could climb or hide within a walking or running distance from the shooting.
So the top priority for law enforcement across our area right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Tom Nixon, we thank you for your insight. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.